Welcome back, you tank fanatics, it is Matsimus. I really appreciate you stopping by on this video. Today, it does actually relate to my own home country of Canada. Yes, we are talking about main battle tanks, two in particular. First of all, the Leopard 2 main battle tank that Canada has recently been finally putting into full stage replacement of the Leopard 1 main battle tank. And interestingly enough, they've started to look at what are they going to do with the old Leopard 1 tanks. Now, to me, it's very simple. Give them all to me. I have plenty of room down my street to park at least all 52 of them down there for sure, and I don't think anyone's really going to complain about that. For sure, it's a little bit of an inconvenience to the bus route, but everything else I think will be fine with the local neighbourhood. But seriously though, guys, it's interesting to see what Canada will do with the Leopard 1 main battle tanks that are going to be fully replaced in the very near future with the Leopard 2 fleet. Now, Leopard 2s have been in the Canadian Armed Forces for quite a while. You know, it's not a new thing. We've been using them for quite some time, and the replacement package has been ongoing. As with anything Canadian in the Armed Forces, unfortunately, it takes a very, very long time, including my application to be an Army Reserve, which I am today, which is quite disappointing, to say the least, but it's just something we've come to accept in Canada. You know, we really don't have the luxury of having military equipment come into play very, very quickly, and that is what it is. But recently I found an article which is quite interesting that really points out what they could potentially do with Leopard 1s that are being, you know, kicked out of service and not being used anymore, which is a sad thing to see, because I'm sure many tankers of the Canadian Armed Forces are a little sad to see their beautiful, beloved Leopard 1s going into the dust pile, potentially being mothballed or even sold to other countries and armed forces around the world. They're not going to be too sad for too long though, because I get to work with this absolute behemoth and beautiful main battle tank, the Leopard 2. Now, recently, Captain Scott Franklin with the Office of Director Land Requirements pointed out on the 22nd of January that the Army's website has recently just given an article about the Leopard 2 tank mobility implement in the fall of 2017 was the last of the Army's Leopard 1 tanks being parked for good and pretty much mothballed. So then what happens to these beautiful Leopard 1 main battle tanks? Well, the Department of National Defence spokesman Daniel Le Bouthillier explained, I quote, "The Department of National Defence has a formal process for disposing of surplus Canadian Armed Forces equipment. Once the DND and the Canadian Armed Forces has declared equipment as surplus, a disposal plan is written that describes the preparatory steps that are to be performed and describes the strategies for its removal from the DMD system of record. The disposal plan assesses options including retention, alternate use within the DND and Canadian Armed Forces, i.e. training or display purposes, transfer to another federal government organisation, sale, donation, or conversion to waste. In the case of the Leopard 1 family of vehicles, there are 52 remaining Leopard 1 C2 main battle tanks and 5 Leopard 1 Armoured Engineering Vehicles remaining." Unquote. They will, as of right now, from what they're saying, remain in place until the disposal mechanism is fully selected, and they are currently distributed in Edmonton, Alberta, Montreal, Quebec, and Gagetown, New Brunswick. So kind of all over the Canada region, really. We're not kind of centralising them anywhere in one big massive warehouse. The first option would be obviously to sell the tanks. Any revenue generating option for the government is encouraged because, well, I mean, it's not like we don't have any other military projects that we want to put some money onto. Yeah. No, honestly, we need the money for other things, but what that is, I have no idea nowadays. It's absolutely baffling to me what we're actually going to spend our money on when it comes to defence procurement, but I don't think we're exactly going to make, you know, buckets and buckets of dollars selling these things off. I mean, they are older tanks, they're not a high generation vehicle, we're not going to get a huge amount of money for them. There is really no current interest and no firm buyers from anywhere out there. The sale is open to approved foreign nations or an approved Canadian industry. The second option is one of which I really don't want to see, which is to use the tanks for alternative use such as hard targets to be engaged on the range by the beautiful Leopard 2 tanks, which is honestly sacrilege. How can you put a Leopard 2 against a Leopard 1 and expect not tankers to be literally looking through their gunners' sights and nearly crying they're about to put a fin round through the turret of one of the tanks they used to drive? I think that's baffling to me and absolutely crazy. What a waste of good hardware and money, and I don't think it's something they're going to do. They could also turn them into monuments and artefacts, but to put 52 tanks around the country as artefacts, that's quite a feat. Like I said, I'll take all 52 off your hands, DND. Please send them to me. In fact, I've already sent my letter to the Department of National Defence requesting all 52 tanks to be sent to my home address. So hopefully they'll show up in the near future here and they'll request. Or maybe they could just send me, 5 of the Leopard 1 Armoured Engineering Vehicles. Maybe I could just use them for a towing company. I'll start my own towing company with Leopard 1 repair tanks. But honestly, I don't think that's going to be a case either. There's too many tanks. They're probably going to sell them out. If the tanks cannot be sold, alternative applications will be sought that may bring value to the government. That key statement from this article is something that I am really, really looking into here. Alternate applications will be sought that may bring value to the government. Do you know what that means? Surplus sale to civilians. And that is something that I would love to see. They've done it before. They did it with the M113 APC carriers that basically they had no use for. I even know a few people in museums that own them, and even personal use vehicles that they have. Of course, you don't see many of them, extremely rare, but they are out there. And the last final option for the tanks is to melt them down. Honestly, that's what they'll do. They'll just destroy them, cut them for scrap, and melt them down, which again is going to be a horrible thing to see. Very upsetting if that does come to place. And I'm just really curious as to what decision they're going to make about this. But that being said, if in the future they do make the option for one of these things to be bought, believe me when I say this, I am going to put every ounce of effort that I possibly can into procuring one. Whether that means taking a loan out, speaking to other friends, starting a crowd fund. I want one of these tanks if they do sell them. It will literally be a lifelong goal to have one of these things on a bit of private land that I can tear around on. I've never worked on, Leopard tanks before, engineering-wise. I'm sure it's not too difficult. Procurement of parts would probably be quite difficult, but I'm sure if they do sell these things, they're probably going to sell all the spare parts for them too, so that could be interesting. But of course, that's just a dream, a goal, an aspiration that I'd love to see happen, but it probably won't ever happen. But if it does, and they do sell one, believe me when I say this, I'm going to try everything in my power to buy one, because it'll just be amazing. Let's be honest here, though. The reality is I think they're just going to sell them to other countries, and whether or not the countries that take them will get a good deal on them, who knows, but we will see. Anyway, folks, let me know what you think Canada should do with these Leopard ones. Do you think they should reuse them? Do you think they should sell them on? Do you think they should sell them to the public? I think they should sell them to the public. Let me know. I'm really curious as to what you think we should do. Any Canadians out there that are curious as to what this money could go towards, let me know about that too. If you think we would sell these tanks and make money from it, what do you think that money should go to? I think if they're going to sell them and make money for the DND, then that money should be pumped back into the Canadian Armed Forces and procure us a new tracked armoured fighting vehicle. But of course, we all know that's not going to happen. Anyway, folks, thanks again for joining me today. If you want to support my channel, please go check out my Patreon account. I am on Facebook. All these links are in the description box below. Leave me a like, and I will catch you next time. If you do want to be notified of any upcoming videos, hit the little bell button by the subscribe button, and you should be notified next time. All the best, have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.